We are live now. Okay, so welcome back to the fourth session of the day with Unilogin. Unilogin is with us daily now at 3 p.m. CET here in Frankfurt. So welcome to Unilogin, and we have our lovely mentors who have joined us, Jochen from Germany, Garan also in Germany, and Nimrod in Israel. I will ask the mentors to give a short intro about themselves, and then we will hand it over to Alex from Brazil, representing Unilogin. Jochen, please start.
With pleasure, Rem. I'm Jochen Biedermann. I'm the Managing Director of the World Alliance of International Financial Centers. This is a non-profit association, and our members are leading financial centers, currently 17 across 4 countries, so city governments and similar association promoting their financial centers. I'm also active in blockchain via a company in Hong Kong called Blockchain Asia Limited. Yeah, very much looking forward to the discussion right now.
No, I was muted. So did the other guys, did you give a short intro of yourself, Karen?
No.
Oh, it's done, okay.
Garan now.
Karen, yeah, exactly.
Hi guys. So background's really simple. I've run 3 corporate accelerators. I'm the first investor at about 5 or 6 exited German startups, made a bunch of young people quite rich. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm currently a partner, I'm a partner at a venture builder, and I hope to stay one until I die, maybe, or till I retire. That's it. I think RAM is great. I love RAM.
Thank you.
So you guys then, Nimrod, our lovely Nimrod.
Hey guys, good to see some of the mentors again. Hope that this session will be enjoyable like the previous ones. And Alex, nice to meet you. My name is Nimrod. I'm from Israel, from Tel Aviv. I'm an entrepreneur myself, probably the least experienced person in the room. I just like to give the entrepreneur point of view on stuff and try to perhaps provide different perspective on things.
Thank you, Nimrod. Nimrod, you're being a bit too modest. You're an incredible entrepreneur, and you're here because you add a lot of value, of course. Before I hand over to Alex, I just want to say that we have 99 followers on our Twitch channel, 99. So let's hope by the end of this session, we reach that 100 mark. Our target is 500 by the end of the accelerator program. So Alex, welcome. It's morning in Brazil at the moment. Give us a little bit of your background. Who are you? What is Unilogin? And then let's dive deeper into the business canvas, and the mentors can give you feedback.
Perfect. So my name is Alex Vanasande, and I've been on the Ethereum space even before there was an Ethereum space. Basically, I was among the first employees in Ethereum Foundation. Just after they had money and started hiring people, I was probably one of the first designers also. I helped launch the first Ethereum wallet, the first Ethereum browser, and also set a lot of other standards. And by doing that, it gave me a very good position to understand a lot of the issues that every developer was facing and everyone was facing. And it led me to the path of, hey, how can we improve the usability of not Ethereum apps, but blockchain in apps in general, and so that we can try to bring them mainstream and stop trying to refer to them as really blockchain apps and just apps, right? How do we cross that chasm between just apps and blockchain apps? And that's how I got into Unilogin. So I think maybe you want to see I can show a lot of things, but I think today is the day to do like a business model canvas.
Alex,
so,
let me jump in and
sure.
interrupt you. I just want to make sure the mentors, how familiar are you with Ethereum, this smart contract platform? Because it might be helpful to give a short intro of the features and the conception of this network to better understand the true value of Unilogin.
I think
Yeah,
it's
do
Perfect. I
that.
think,
Karen?
Do that. Give us
Yeah.
that background.
yeah, perfect. I think that would be actually more interesting, right?
No,
Because
don't. I mean, just to give them the understanding why is it the problem. If they never heard of Ethereum, you know, they don't know why it's a problem. Yeah.
okay, so here's the thing, right? All your life is digital right now, right? And like not all, like your money is already digital, and everything in your life is digital. And the more we move towards the future, everything is going to be digital. But there's a problem though by what we mean it's digital. Like everything is on the cloud, but the cloud really, like as famously said, the cloud is just someone else's computer, right? So when your photo and when your money and when your identity is on the cloud, and that cloud belongs to Facebook, and Facebook belongs to a single person, it really means that your whole identity and money and pictures and memories will be controlled by a single person. And that personally, it's a sort of a very scary future scenario for me, right? So blockchain really tries to fix that particular problem and tries to bring people its idea, hey, can we try to change the server model? Can we do it in a way that users are back in control of their own data, they are in control of their funds, they are in control of their profile, right? All those things go through the idea of, hey, can we build a blockchain? And so blockchain is really just a database, but it should be a decentralized database. It's a database that is really like a computer somewhere that nobody controls. And I think that's really the key. I make a software, I put it some in a cloud that it doesn't belong to a single person, that it cannot be controlled by a single person. But there's a problem though, and that's where Unilogin gets. Like, who are you in the cloud? You, like in the previous cloud, like in the Facebook cloud, the like in order for you to have access to your thing, if you lose your password, let's say, what you need to do is prove to some reasonably secure DAO that you are you, right? And Facebook is just gonna give you challenges. He's gonna ask you your password, and you're gonna say, I don't have the password. And then he's gonna say, okay, then maybe you can provide me your email, and I can confirm that. And then you're gonna say, oh, I lost that email. And then he's gonna go to harder and harder challenges. Like, maybe can you get a second email that you signed up? Maybe can you prove yourself to the others way? So that's how you prove yourself in the cloud. How do you prove yourself on the blockchain? Basically, you have a key. You have a single key that you either have it and don't have it. And that is a very binary choice right now. And that's the binary choice. It's really the root of the problem, because what happens that if you make too many copies of that key, like if you don't have enough copies of that key, if you lose it, then you lose access to your funds forever. And that's how you get stories on there's an $8 million in a USB in a trash can somewhere in Norway or something like that, right? You get those stories often because people store their keys in the wrong place and then they put it on their pocket. That pocket went to the trash, and then they realize that the only chance that they had for like getting $10 million back is literally having to dig out the trash. There's no cloud they can go to and try to prove their identity and swear, I swear this is me. There's no way. You either have the key or you don't. So people would do copies, and they do a ton of copies, and then that takes you to the other problem, which is if you make too many copies of that single key, you can lose it. If you give it one time to someone who you shouldn't give it to it, they can just take all your money, and then you lose everything. And then that's even actually worse than the USB in the trash situations, because then there's not even the chance of you finding the USB, because someone actually already stole your money. You don't have any money left, right? And how do you solve that? My personal view is that the best way to do that, to solve that, is that the concept of you should be a democracy of your devices, right? What does it mean? It should mean that you have your laptop, you have your iPad, you have your phone. In the future, maybe you have your smart glasses, your smartwatch, a smart credit card. And whenever I want to have access, I should go to those devices and ask them, hey, there's a new device coming into town, or there's a new app coming into town. Is that Alex? and then I should be able to ask my iPad, my tablet, my phone, and then they should be able to confirm, right? So me is a constellation, and that's why, and that's how I see. That's my vision. Okay,
Cool.
but that's abstract. How does
Yeah.
that translate to a product? And now I can talk about. So I gave like an abstract vision, and then I'm gonna go to like a more specific idea, right? So we have about a few problems in the blockchain space right now. First, it's the UX, the user experience is terrible, right? It's hard to use, it's hard, like you can solve, but it's hard to develop for. If you want to solve with those things, it's super hard. If you actually want to pay for any transactions in Ethereum, you need to have Ether, which is the native currency, which is weird because unlike Bitcoin, like Bitcoin, you can use, the only reason that you own Bitcoin is to transfer Bitcoin and to own Bitcoin. But Ethereum should be able to allow you to access games and build other currencies on top of that, and build central government currencies and build companies. And it's sort of weird to have this idea where you say, hey, I see you have euros in your account, but in order to move your euros, you need to have dollars, because you have euros, but you need to pay your fees in dollars. Or you have gold, but you can only pay your fees in dollars. Or even like I know that like you created a Chinese company, and that Chinese company holds gold, but in order to do anything on that Chinese company, you need to have like Venezuelan bolivares or something crazy like that. That's the current state of Ethereum. You need to have Ether, which is this, it's just a currency. And again, losing a single key will lead to a loss of everything. Giving your key to someone else will lead to a loss of everything. And finally, another technical issue is that if you want to have Ether to move your funds, the way I do it, so let's say I want Nimrod to give, like I want to buy it from Nimrod, right? And that's one of the easiest ways. And then I have to say, hey, Nimrod, I'm going to send you money, and you're going to have to send it back to me. And Nimrod is going to ask you, sure, what's your address? And I cannot tell him, because my address is going to be, it's 0x123FBC, and like a 40 letter long size. And of course, the way I want it is just, I am Alex van der Sande, just send it to Alex, right? So we can jump into the solutions. So how does, let me just close the door a little bit, because there's, so what is the solution, right? How do we solve it? So as I said, traditionally everyone has a key, and the way Unilogin does is that for every new user, we give them 3 things. And that's not like a pro feature, that's something that every new account should get at the start. First of all, you will get a smart account, which means it's a multisig. It's the democracy of devices I meant. It's mean that your key, your funds are not stored again by a single key. They are stored by multiple keys. And each device, each app in each device you have, it's going to have a different key. So if you have, let's say, phone, tablet, and MacBook and computer, and if you have 2 or 3 apps in each one of them, you can easily get to 5 or 6 different keys that are controlling and securing your single device, right? Second thing we want to give every user is a username. I don't want you to think that I am 0x1239F. I want you to think that I'm Alex, right? And you can, the address will look similarly to an address, an email. It's just alex.unilogin.if or something like that. And finally, you should be able to pay the fees however you want. Maybe you want to pay your fees in Ether. Maybe you want to pay your fees in Bitcoin. Maybe you want to pay your fees in dollars. Maybe you don't want to pay your fees at all, right? Maybe instead you subscribe to a service, you pay $10 per month using your credit card, and that service you pay all the fees for you. Most importantly, we built that solution for users, but we want that solution to be we want to give that solution to any app. So what we are building is not a very good wallet. We are not trying to do like what's the best, easiest way to use a wallet. What we're really trying to do is how can we build that solution and then give it to anyone who is building anything on Ethereum. And that's what Unilogin is a solution for, it's a solution for users that you give them to developers. Nimrod, you have a
Yes, so
question?
just one question also for the audience that listens. So of course I know blockchain very well, but given your explanation, one might get the impression that you're actually trying to centralize the decentralized technology, which is blockchain. So can you address this potential question? Are you centralizing something that is by nature decentralized?
That is a great question. Thank you for asking. Because so we have actually those problems exist right now in UX. A few ways in which a lot of people are trying to solve and bring like the Web 2 experience to this new web is just by repeating the same things as the Web 2, like the traditional Web 2.0 did, which is bring everything to the cloud, put your keys on the cloud, put your cloud behind someone else's computer and have a username and password. And that is centralizing the key storage. And that's very dangerous. That would be like, let's create a new Facebook login for Ethereum, which is the opposite of what we are trying to do. So we really, so one of the things that we really tried is we want to solve that without centralizing, without having any custody. So basically what we do is we have an open source platform that allows users to have control of their own funds. At no point we are custodials, at no point we have control of your user funds. What we do instead is that we provide a platform to make it easier for the user to have their keys split in multiple devices, right? They can even, like, if they wanted, they could add a custodial. So the idea is basically that, like, we provide you a service that allows very easily for your key to be in all your multiple devices, and you can control them. And if you want, one of those keys can be a custodial service. That's your choice. If you want, one of those keys can be a hardware wallet. That's your choice. But it's not going to be us, right? We do not own any keys. We do not control any of that. And we offer you the best tools to make sure that you won't lose access to your identity. But we are not ourselves controlling the identity.
Maybe to add to this, because Alex, you're always speaking of like multiple devices, but I think it's important to make clear that this device that you give control over like certain actions on your account could also be the device, let's say, of my best friend or my mom or another trusted person. So you basically give a person you trust certain control over your wallet in a way, right? So I could say
that's
please,
so
Alex.
that's true. That's something very cool of doing like a smart wallet is that you can actually make it smart. You can extend functionality to it, right? Again, the traditional, the old way of doing it is that you have a key and either you have access to that and you don't have access to that. And if you have access, you have full access. And if you don't have access, you have zero access. By doing a smart wallet, you can extend functionality. You can do stuff like, okay, those keys have limits. Maybe you can only spend up to $100 per day. And after that, you need more approvals. You need to have a secondary confirmation. Another thing, and that's the thing that what Leon is describing, is you can actually do a social recovery option. And you can say something like, look, if I'm offline, if I don't have access to it, here are 5 trusted friends that can help me recover and gain access again to my account. That doesn't mean that they have access to their account. Like you can say, like you can say, look, my wife, my mother, my brother, they can help me recover access to my account. They cannot access my account directly, but if they get together, they can create a new key that will provide me access, or maybe provide them access if I'm gone, right?
So basically, if what you can do with this is if I'd be, let's say, in Argentina, lost my wallet, lost everything, I could go to an internet cafe, call my mom, hey, I want to log in with Unilogin. Please confirm that this is me in this internet cafe in Argentina. And then she could give me access to my funds. This is like pretty amazing.
Yes, that could happen.
So let me.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So who are the ones who essentially are going to pay you money for it? The developers?
Yes, our clients are developers. So basically, like the way we see it, or developers have this issue where, and they can solve that issue by doing a lot of development, or they can just put our service up and pay a fee, right? And it's basically like any developer should be able to add Unilogin, like very easily to integrate. It should be free, and we charge for some special fees and things on top of that. Things like subsidizing, giving your users free transactions, giving your users a custom domain that has your name on it, allowing your users to have custom tokens. That's very good if you run ICO, if you have your custom token, want everything to run in an internal economy, things like that.
All right, so the thing that quite immediately is that the problem statement is circumstantial in reference to your potential customers. So the problem statements you use here are problem statements, and I don't address each one of them directly, but in general, they are addressing to the users of those apps that the developers are developing. So the problems of the developers. However, the ones who's going to pay the money is going to be probably the developers, right?
Yeah, so, but I mean, the developers want users, right? And like those, like, if your user is having a hard time using your app, that's a problem for the user, but that's also a problem for you.
All right, so I'll try to give you some framework to think about it. So the thing that you're saying, which I think it's a valid assumption that the developer would want the users to be satisfied. It's okay, but you need to be able to validate whether this assumption is applicable to your case. And I'd like to give you a few tools to kind of think whether the problem that the users are experiencing is severe enough to be constantly reflected to the developers. So when thinking about problems, you want at least to evaluate it based on several criteria. So a good problem is usually a problem which is very popular, which if you ask any one of the users, they would immediately say, yeah, I have this problem. I know what you're talking about. This is one criteria. Another criteria is that a good problem is usually an urgent problem, that if they don't solve it now, they are in a severe crisis. So I would rather try to think whether this problem really is like people are eager to solve it now and they cannot do anything without it, or it's something that is nice to have. This is second criteria. Third criteria would be how much money does this problem cost for the user? And it can be money and it can be time as well, right? If they need to spend tons of time to solve it, that is another thing that would make them more eager to try and solve the problem. Fourth criteria is this problem mandatory for the users to solve? Do they have regulation that enforces them to use this kind of service or not? That would make the problem even better. And the fifth one, not the least, but just I don't want to be overwhelming, but the fifth one, good problems usually are very frequent problems, things that you encounter at least once a day, if not multiple times a day. And when you evaluate the whole picture, given those 5 criteria, I can go ahead and give you 7, 8, 10, whatever, how much you want, that would eventually help you understand how big of a problem is it for the user. And because you're using a proxy, right, you essentially you're getting money from the developers and they are proxy to the users. So the problem should be even bigger for the users so that your business model would actually work. Because if you'd sell directly to the users, if the problem is 1x or 2x, whatever the x is, that's good enough. But if you're going through a proxy, that 1x need to be at least 4x. So that puts a lot of burden of proof to show that the problem is really deep. So I'd love to hear your angle about it, because the problem I see here is the user's problem, which I can accept that this is the analysis you want to make, but I want to understand more about it.
That's very interesting, and like I would have to think about like each one of those criteria, right? Because like if you think about frequency, if you think about so the problem that developers have, I would say, and that reflects on what we call our key metrics, is really the drop-off rate of users when they sign up, right? I think that, and that's something that developers have, which is urgent and constant, which is like users come into the website and they click something that shows that they're interested in using the product, and then you ask them to, hey, install a MetaMask extension, like write down these weird seed phrases, go into an exchange and buy Ether, and those are like 50 steps, and you lose your users into those 50 steps. And that's a real urgent and constant problem for developers. And so that's that would be really the main one that we are trying to solve for them.
I just want to interrupt you, like a real quick note. This is true, but if the problem that you're trying to solve is drop off of users or churn of users, so you better try and build a solution for that, which is not necessarily a unified login for blockchain apps. That can be, you know, a whole other solution that directly addresses the problem of drop off of users. So this is, again, kind of circumstantial. It's not direct to the value proposition that you're adding. It's just, it would happen as a side effect, but not as the main
That's true.
effect.
That's a very good point.
Maybe if I would say, by the way, Nimrod, I'm going to have to listen to the recording and write these 5 points because I missed them already. But maybe it's not so much the drop-off of users, but maybe conversion of new users. At the end of the day, if someone's building an app and I want to use that app, Nimrod, you've been through that with your first startup, I know very well. How do you convert the users? You know, first thing is to get them to your app, but second thing is to get them to sign up. And if the sign up is a nightmare, that's usually where 90% drop off, I would say, right?
Yeah, I mean that can be like Unilogin solution can be one way to convert users, especially like on blockchain app. It can be one of the problems that exist, but I would rather go for building a solution to a problem and not trying to force or impose a solution on a problem, like to go the other way around from the problem to the solution. So if the problem is conversions, so now let's think with like no restrictions at all, what would be the best way to improve conversion rates for
the no restrictions
Sorry
at
for
all.
using the term, Alex. I know you want to eliminate this term from the world, but it still exists.
No, I think it's no. Alex?
It's interesting because if you say, okay, there's no restrictions at all, then you, like, the way you probably go it is like drop this whole idea of making it decentralized and non-custodial, right? You can say users don't care about being decentralized and non-custodial. And that's actually like something that you can already prove, like by just saying that most users of crypto are people who are using these exchanges, right? If you ask 10 people that own crypto, like if they say, do you own crypto? And they say yes. And if you ask them, okay, where do you own crypto? They will say, oh, I own in Bitfinex, in Coinbase, and things like that. And that
but maybe Alex, those people, you know, they are already users. So maybe they are not the people who have the problem. Maybe it's the, like we said, the new users. But maybe Jochen, you had something you wanted to add?
I would like to add another view, maybe also from the user side, if you allow me. So yes, this might be a very sophisticated wallet solution with a lot of new functionality, but as a user, I would be afraid. You know, the higher the complexity, the higher the risk is. There might be an issue somewhere in a smart contract, and then I, lose the money. We had this all before, right? So I think people might have more trust in the well-established ones. Yes, they are simple, but at least they have a good feeling that they will work and do not have any flaws anymore.
So I don't know if So I was just wondering, maybe it would help people to understand what the product actually is. Alex, if you would show it, maybe what it does, maybe we have a different kind of view of what the product is.
Perfect.
We understand
I can
what
do
it's
it, no problem. And just and answering, like Josh made a very good point, and I think, let me just open the and like it's true, like you want to have like trust in your, let me see, yes, so you do want to have trust, and the way you just, okay, perfect. Enter full screen and play this, and then I'm gonna answer your question. Yes, you want users to have trust. Yes, like probably like more complexity means more problems. And I would say I've seen that problem, that issue firsthand from 2017 to today, in which when we started having smart contract bugs, almost everyone said, "Oh, let's stop. Like the smart contract thing is a bad idea. Let's not do that. Let's keep using public key pairs." That's one of the reasons that we changed or the way we do a lot of or we used to run our own contract, and we will like go and audit and do things like that. But now we are using a more public open standard for multisig. It's called Know the Safe. And the nice thing about Know the Safe, not only has been audited multiple times, it has, I think, over $6 million held in it for multiple months by multiple entities, and they haven't been hacked. And more important than that, it's insured. So you can actually buy an insurance on it, and if you have a smart contract bug, that will be solved. Of course, that's something that users need to acquire trust on that platform, right? And I think we really want the users to trust smart contracts in the long term. So maybe I can show you like a quick how it works. What do you think?
Alex,
So
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I just want to kind of share one thought from the top of my head, and I'd like to hear your comment about it. And you know, anyway, it's like only the first conversation between you and the mentors, and probably we would like have future discussions. But you know, I'm just trying to think whether, like, when you build the canvas, were you feeling that you're like a solution in search of a problem, or you really started from the problem and then went to the solution? What was the thinking process?
So that's a good question. So basically, the story is that I was seeing the problem over and over and over again. I was seeing people come to me with the same problem. Hey, and those were the problems I cited in the beginning. Oh, I just built this huge thing, but now my users lost the key. Can I have given them access to it? Oh, I don't want my users to have Ether because I don't want them to think it's an Ethereum app. Like they don't need to have Ether. They're just building Ether as a platform and things like that. And I was constantly saying, hey, there are actually solutions for that. You can do this by doing this new thing called meta transactions. Oh, that you can do that by just signing a transaction and then sending it to a relayer. Oh, this thing here, you can do it by putting those pieces together. And then everyone would come back and say, hey, that's a very complicated. I don't know, like, I don't think I can do that. I need someone, like, is there a quick, easy way, like one library that I can just grab it and that's going to give me all those solutions? And that is really why we started building that. It was really like, okay, someone needs to build a library for all those solutions put together, and that's what we wanted to build, right? So we built. So we saw the problems and we had a solution, and our solution was very specific in the sense that we wanted to have a solution that would avoid the centralization problem that we saw in other places.
All right, great. I'd love to speak with you on that later. So you can move ahead, maybe show us the solution.
Finding the real problem, and then you can find a real solution and get a better adoption. So I think it's beneficial for all. But yeah, can you, if you give the...
Thank you.
Sure. So here's the thing: like Kickback is one of the apps that has Unilogin installed, and I'm gonna like show you two apps. And the way you need to do it, all I want you to do is type a username, right? You type a username, and then from that, I can already know if that's a new user or if that's an existing user. And if it's a new user, well, I can already like help you onboard you. I already have the address in which your account is going to be created. I can use that to send crypto if I have one, or I can help you put credit card, and we have a lot of like on-renting providers. And as soon as you send any money to it, we detect that there's money on it, boom, we can create an account for you. And from that on, that's already like the flow of kickback itself. You don't even need to do that. Like, I've already given kickback my Ethereum address. I've already deployed a multisig for them, and at this point, the user never saw a password. The user never saw a passphrase. All I'm doing is now I have a multisig that is, and I can like use that to sign transactions. I can use that to do other things. So right now I have a multisig with one key, and that key is saved on local storage and kickback. And if that's true, how can I log in a second device, right? So let's say now I'm using my phone and I see another cool, interesting app, which is called Know the Safe. It's a wallet, and I want to use the same account there. And then all I need to do is like I need to type my username and say, hey, my username is Jane Doe, and I can detect from that, oh, Jane Doe already exists, right? Do you want to create a new Jane Doe in another address, or can I just connect to that? And you can say, I want to connect to that, and I'm going to receive a notification on my other devices saying, hey, there's someone trying to connect to your Jane Doe. Can you go here and can you confirm that's you? And we are going to check that. And you just need to confirm this number. Is just like sending a confirmation number to make sure that you are you. And then from that, we are going to send a transaction. And the interesting thing from that is that now that you're just sending you're making an Ethereum transaction directly from the browser, and now you have your multisig has two keys, one in your phone, one in your browser. And if you add another app, if you add another like if you open another browser tab, you have more and more and more keys that are all sort of like managing your main identity. But the most important thing is that I don't want you to even think about keys. The most important thing is I was able to log you in like 3 or 4 minutes. I was able to give you a safe, non-custodial, decentralized user account that never showed you that you didn't need to download anything. You didn't need to write down a seed phrase. You barely, and you could even have purchased money on it using your credit card. And I think that's the short version of what the product is. And you were able to sign in 2 different apps, right? And those 2 apps now share the same funds and share the same identity. And I think that's the interesting part.
How can I know as a user when I'm deciding to use Unilogin? How do I know that it is in fact decentralized?
That's a good question. Because we try to make it as easy as, and we try not to explain very technically what it is to the user. So that is a good point. That is a good point. Maybe we need to try to explain to the user more that he is in control of his own keys and things like that. That's the value that maybe not all the users shares. That's a great point, Nimrod.
Yeah, so first of all, I forgot to say, but I really love the unicorn thing. So it's very cute. But yeah, I have also several ideas on top of that. And another thing that I saw from a product point of view is that when you enter your nickname, it has some autocomplete mechanism. I think that from compliance point of view and also from privacy point of view, that might also be a problem, because I can just type, for example, Maria, and I can see if Maria has an account on that. And it will suggest me. So this is another thing that as a user I might be concerned about.
So that's something that you can check from the blockchain, right? So we don't actually store information about the user we put. So basically what happens is that by typing any username, you can actually know that if that username exists or not, right? That's something that is inherent to the system. And that information is stored on the blockchain. It's not something that we are storing. So it's not a compliance issue. There might be some more privacy concerns for the users, and we can try to address that point. And we can try to address, and I think there are solutions to how to address that. But the thing is, every time you type a username, you can already check on the blockchain if that username exists or not.
Anyone else? Any comments?
Basically, maybe a short comment. So basically, the authentication here in this example that you showed. So on the right is my mobile phone. To access my mobile phone, I need my fingerprint or my password, and then to access the app, I need to confirm it on a different device, like you just did with the little figures, correct? So it's just synchronizes between two things that I own plus what I am, which is my fingerprint, correct?
Yes. So your device, so your device is secured by biometrics. It's not your account that is secure. Like your account is secured by your device, and your device is secured by biometrics. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that we believe in that, in this model of having one key per app per device.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I see. I get it.
Hi, Alex.
Yes.
I'm listening and I'm learning a lot here, right? The problem that you state, is it really a problem? I mean, people lose shit all the time, you know? People just lose stuff. Why is that such a problem? You lose stuff.
Well, it depends on how much you lose, right? It should depend, right? Like if you're talking about like your life savings, then that's a big problem. Of course, like like I'm not building like a product to hold $1 million is a very different product than one to hold like $10, right? But I think more important than the amount that you're losing is really the trust that people have in the system. If every time, like if most of the stories you hear about crypto is people being hacked, people losing their money, people losing their accounts, people losing like, and people gambling money on it, that creates a very bad perception that crypto is for hackers and gamblers. And that's really not what we want. I want this idea that you can create a trustworthy account.
Alex, it is for hackers and gamblers. And criminals.
It's not true, Garan. Do I look like a gambler or a criminal? So
no comment. That's let's be honest. That is the general perception, right? So you're
maybe
so is this? But Alex, is this
for gamblers and porn until you make it mainstream? Until you make, and that's the opportunity, right? It's taking something that is only used by criminal, porn, and gamblers, and turning it into something that 5 billion people will use it.
Yeah, someday. but so the problem you're solving is not one of I can lose stuff. It's more a question of how do I use this? So haven't you really created a marketing device? This looks more like to me like a marketing device. This is like helping new users onboard, reducing complexity, making something that's completely intangible, more tangible. Because I'm not down with your problem. I don't see the problem. And I know what crypto is, I just don't see the problem. And when people lose USB drives in the trash of millions of Bitcoins, that's like it happens very, 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 very rarely. It's not really a mainstream problem. And new users don't buy millions of bucks worth of Bitcoins. So it's not a great example.
That's a great comment.
Yeah, new users are fucking around with 100 bucks in the beginning until they start getting confident.
Yeah.
Maybe anyone else?
Yeah.
So
I would like to.
Yeah, Alex. Let Alex reply first.
Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, let me address that, right? Because I think that's very true, right? And maybe because I started talking about USB sticks and losing money, maybe that looks like that's the problem I'm trying to solve. And that's true. I'm not trying to solve a problem for that person who has $1 million in a USB stick. That person should probably, and like there's another startup in the accelerator of Frankfurt which is a lot better than that, and they are doing like hardware wallets, and they are doing like metal frames that you can use to save your $1 billion, right? That's perfect for them. What I'm trying to do is really bring crypto to moms and grandmoms and grandpas, and this idea that, hey, there's this new app here. It allows you to buy virtual cats or buy virtual cows, or maybe just put your money and take a loan out of it in better terms. That's really like that's a lot more like what we're trying to solve.
Good.
So maybe it's a marketing issue, and I think maybe you should think about it as a marketing, and that's an interesting way of putting it.
So I think what maybe Alex's background explains why he's a bit maybe like a crusader, going there and speaking for the good of how to use blockchain, because he was, early on involved with Ethereum. And I think this is, of course, those who believe in this technology is not only for the criminals and, whatever users. It is like, we need to really get the adoption happening. And the only way for the adoption to really happen for the moms and pops and, the skepticals is that it should be easy and, of course, secure and transparent to use it. But maybe Johan has some comments.
Yeah, this point I understand. The question is, how big is that user group? However, if you want to address the existing user, I think then you have that trade-off I've mentioned before. You add complexity, means you also add risk of errors. We all remember the parity bug in 2017. I think how much was lost? $300 million US. I don't know whether you can insure amounts like this for a reasonable price. So maybe then more experienced users are better off either having a hardware device or using something like my Ether wallet or MetaMask, where they're familiar with, and which is lean and proven over years, right? So, but of course I understand your point. If you want to address maybe new groups of clients, can help to make it nice and to hide then the keys. On the other hand, then I wouldn't even show them the public key and QR codes. This is maybe then already too much. And basically, you can directly send them to Coinbase, Kraken, and so on, which will hold the keys for them, which is maybe for those clients a better solution than yours. Yeah, sorry for that comment.
And it's a great comment, and it's true. I only show them their public key if they're trying to pay in crypto. If they want to put money in credit card and use, if they're in the US, they can use even Apple Pay for that. I just wasn't able to record it because I don't have access. Apple Pay is not working yet in Brazil, but that's something that's a great feedback, and I would add that on the next demo, right? Just show the credit card flow, which is a lot more mom and pop.
Any last minute burning questions? I think we still have 5 minutes, so we can have another question. But I think there were some good points brought by Nimrod, maybe Gavin also, that what is the real problem. But I think you can have, we can hook you up, guys, and you can have a separate session on that to dig into deeper. I think it always helps if, but once you understand the real problem, you can also address your clients, in a more, firm way, and build really a product that people are dying to use.
If I may add, at the end of the day, what Unilogin is out to do is it is solving quite a difficult barrier of entry to something that will inevitably become mainstream. Blockchain is going to be in all our lives. Estimates are by 2027. And we see a potential here. Nimrod said the unicorn, he liked it. But we definitely see a potential. There are going to be the future Googles, Facebooks, Amazons on the blockchain. And Unilogin is really tackling a problem that can bring it towards that path.
And I think, when you talk about that, it's not transparent, or but I think really what the purpose, when you think of what is the beauty of it, if you could actually make everything decentralized and make it easy for people to develop apps or solution for that, then we could really have peer-to-peer lending, peer-to-peer car rental, house rental, whatever, and actually take out all these middlemen. I think that at least for me, is the purpose why I believe that blockchain is going to change how we see what kind of solution we're going to have in the future. So that's why at least was our target for who we bring into the program. So
let me add in the last 2 minutes, Alex, you are also in the accelerator because you are seeking fundraising at the moment, right? Can you tell us where you are, how much have you raised, how much are you raising, and what sort of investors are you looking for?
So we are a very lean team. So we are able to raise about $200,000. That's from a few angel investors, from ourselves, and we even we started this whole thing with grants directly for open source development. We want, and that is because we are 5 people in Poland. That still gives us almost a year of runway still. But we want to be more aggressive. We want to be maybe grow the STEM, maybe build more in less time, and that's why we want to, and also extend that runway. And that's why we are trying to raise about $1 million, and in a 5.5 valuation. So that's about 18% of the share that we are selling. And all the previous rounds were just safe notes with a standard discount.
Very good. No, good to know. Nimrod, please connect me to investors in Israel. You think fall within that. I'd be happy to then follow up and connect Alex further.
Yeah.
And Jochen as well, of course.
And Jochen, any?
I have a last question. You mentioned $5.5 million valuation you are seeking. This is pre or post coronavirus?
That's definitely post coronavirus.
Yeah, so maybe not. We don't need to go into too details about the valuations on live stream, but you're interested, we will definitely, Jochen, connect you also to Alex. So yeah, so we'll drop us the message, and please, all mentors, send us to me and Ram some feedback of the session, and we would love to get that from you. So please, mentors, stay online. Alex, thank you very much. Very, very interesting as always.
Bye-bye.
And after a small commercial break, we will continue with the next startup.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex van der Sande. I am Brazilian from Rio de Janeiro. Fun fact about me, I was in the Robinhood group that tried to save the DAO from when that happened. Why did I become an entrepreneur? So I founded Unilogin, and the reason was mostly we saw how hard it was to onboard people into crypto, and we believe that there should be a way that users can get into crypto and not have to download MetaMask or Chrome extension or a seed phrase. And we knew that somebody needed to solve that problem at some point. I realized, hey, maybe that person should be me, right? And then I met Marek and we created Unilogin. I hope that we can, from Frankfurt, I'm very happy to be on the Frankfurt Accelerator. I hope that it's a way for us to weather the storm together, right? I think we are trying to we started a motion to fundraise before the pandemic, and then the world just changed, and we are like, oh my God, what we do now? And I think this is a great opportunity to lay down a little bit, to focus on just building the startup, learning, making new contacts, meeting great new people, so that when the weather sort of passes, we are still out there and we can focus on just growing the company like we want to. Thank you.